Oh, she's not ready.
Yes.
Always waiting on girls.
I'm ready already.
Mostly my wife.
Alright, you guys ready?
Yeah. What did you think of the lonely crowd there yesterday?
I had a lot of fun with it. You know, I'm kind of used to that type of banter, and I didn't mind it at all. And you know, I think they appreciate the fact that I didn't have thin skin, and I didn't take offense to everything they said, because a few of them coming at me pretty hard.
I think you won a few over. What do you think?
I think so too. Yeah, that's what they were kind of saying. I just did the Q&A upstairs with the VIP section or whatever it is, and they all said they were impressed with how well I took the abuse yesterday.
Were you anticipating that from the British crowd?
Yeah, I was, because I think the British have a little, it's a different sense of humor than you do in America. You know, it's a little more aggressive, a little more witty. And so I kind of was expecting it, but some of them dudes were like coming at me pretty hard, so I didn't expect them to be that ballsy about it.
What's been the biggest surprise that you've sort of dealt with since you've been over here dealing with the British fans?
Let's see. You know what? I wanted to see London. I didn't know how much. You know, everyone says, "Oh, London's always cloudy and rainy." It's like I don't think the weather affects me. It's fantastic. I mean, my wife and I were at the Tower of London today. We saw Westminster Abbey today. We really enjoyed it. I thought I've had a blast.
So your first time in London?
First time, yes. Any part of England.
You enjoyed it?
I am a lot, yeah.
So at this point, is it just all the talking's over and you just gotta wait to see who wins tonight?
Yeah, that's kind of why I said I just had a Q&A. It's like, you know, I think if Masvidal wins, he's gonna make some lame-ass excuse why he doesn't have to fight me. I think Till's in. I think I got him hook, line, and sinker. You know, the other day he said something crazy like, it was funny because he said he'll have to work his way up the rankings. Meanwhile, he's fighting a guy that's ranked number 11, which I thought was pretty funny. But it seems like I got him, you know, and especially if I'm able to goad him in front of his hometown crowd, I just don't think he's gonna have anywhere to go but say yes.
See, when he ran out yesterday, do you like that sort of stuff?
I didn't actually see it. You know, I was up here. It happened over there, so I watched the video after. Yeah, it was funny. It was funny. I thought, and listen, the crowd went nuts. They obviously loved it.
I was just going to say, has there been anything said about the potential for you getting in the cage after the main event?
I might have been asking around to see what I got to do. We'll see. We'll see. Well, you know what? Like, I'm already on the bad side of Dana White, so I don't want to get on the worst side of him by doing something insane. So, you know, I'm sure there's necessary measures and precautions that gotta be taken. So we'll see.
How do you think the main event goes?
I think Till wins. Yeah, I would guess.
How would you see that guy?
I just think he's gonna be a little better striker, a little more well-rounded, a little bigger, a little stronger, kind of just a little better everywhere.
You've spoken about how with Robbie you didn't have anyone to talk trash with, and obviously Darren seems to be up for it.
Up for it.
Do you think if you guys got into a level thing, I can imagine you getting under his skin quite easily, like?
I think so too.
Right.
Yeah.
I can imagine you can sort of, you know, out criticism him.
Well, listen, now you're picking on Darren. That's my job. My job is to pick on Darren, not your job. So you just let me stick with my game plan.
When you're trash talking people, one of the things I've been sort of spotting and sort of watching the way you go about things, you don't really go for the personal abuse angle that very.
Well, no one really likes that.
No, that's what I mean. Is that a conscious decision that you sort of steer clear of that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I feel.
So much of it elsewhere.
I feel like there's just like some lines you don't cross. And then, you know, you just see people don't really like that. You know, it's just like, they don't really want any more of that. And so, not only do I not like it, the people don't like it, so if no one likes it, what's the point?
Yeah, and with GSP retired, I know you'd love to face GSP.
I don't think he's all the way retired.
You think there's a chance he might come back?
Damn straight there's a chance. I think he was trying to fight Khabib, and I wasn't in those negotiations, but I think there was genuine interest in that fight, and, you know, from my angle, the UFC, if Khabib, you know, Khabib, one of his things right now is he's 27-0. In fact, he's got a 0 there. So if GSP comes in, beats him up, and then just says I'm done again, which is probably what he would do, right? He's not gonna say, oh, I'm back and I'm gonna fight 3 times a year. Man, that's a bad look for Khabib. I mean, that's you get one payday, but then it's like, what's after that? So I think that's why, you know, GSP said, hey, this just, you know, they probably weren't offering him a lot of money or something. He says, not in for me, and then he retires.
If we move GSP to one side for a sec, I know you've been pushing for the 165 division as well.
Yeah.
That would seem like a tailor-made matchup. You and Khabib,
yeah, absolutely.
165.
Yeah.
How high on the totem pole would that be for you?
That's how, right?
Guys going at it potentially for a belt.
Absolutely. I mean, that's very high. I mean, You know, if there's some way I could make that happen next, I would make it happen. I don't think I can, right? I'm thinking like 1 or 2 fights away from that happening. But that is something that'd be an awesome fight. Great storyline, both undefeated. The USA versus Russia thing always plays. So I think we have, and then you also got like the best wrestler in MMA type of thing playing. So I think he would have a whole bunch of angles to run on that fight. That would be a lot of fun.
How close could you get to 155?
I wrestled at 163 for my time in the Olympic International Wrestling, and that was a huge challenge for me. Like, I was on a diet 12 months a year. I didn't get to. I would never have a plate of food like that. And so that was 163. Like, I really couldn't foresee myself going any lower than that. So it's like that's 8 more pounds than 155. Like, that's just totally out of the question. Whereas I could see, it would be tough for me to make 165, but I know I could do it.
As you got like 72, how much pressure did Daniel White put on, if any, to face Robbie again?
None so far. I haven't heard from him. Well, he texted me once last night. It was last night, I think. Texted me. We had just a small text conversation. No, they haven't said anything to me. I mean, you know what the UFC does a lot of? They get a feel for what the fans are saying, and I think besides a few drunk British fans last night, I don't think there's not a lot of people interested in that rematch. I mean, when you say, okay, if you would have put a fan poll together for my first fight and says who do you want to face, Robbie Lawler would have been really low on that list. There's a lot of reasons it wasn't that sought after. And so now, I think they kind of took the pulse of the fans, and the fans are they want something else. The fans would choose me and Till over me and Robbie. I'm probably 8-1 or something like that.
For you, is Till, is that something you target because he's like 3rd in the world, he's close to the title?
There's a whole bunch of reasons, right? Yeah, I mean, 3rd in the world. I think I beat him pretty easy. I think he talks trash with me. I think he brings in the British crowd. I mean, I think there's just a whole bunch of reasons. I think it makes a lot of sense.
You wanted to fight him in Chicago, right? That's the date you'd like.
I think that'd be a great one, especially if he comes out unscathed tonight, no major injuries. One of his big storylines has been his weight, right? He balloons up. So, I remember when I got to fight in the Bellator tournament, it was like 3 times in 3 months. It was so awesome because I just kept my weight low. And it was like no big deal. Make weight 2 or 3 weeks later, make weight 4 weeks later. It was just like easy. So, for a fighter, the hardest time to make weight is when I know my hardest time, I retired for 10 months, I ballooned up, and now I'm like, shit, I gotta lose a whole bunch of weight. If you can kind of stay lower, I'm sure that's better for him than taking 6 months off, getting really big, and then having to shrink back down again.
So when do you want to have the conversation with the UFC to say, right, I want it in Chicago?
Tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Do you expect
Relationship with Dana White, is that something you feel like you have to work on?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Well, I'm gonna work on it. I was texting the other day, so we're gonna work on it.
What was said in those texts?
That we're gonna get together at some point here in the near future.
When you were with One, obviously, the whole ethos of their organisation and martial arts in Asia is completely different.
Yeah.
Now you're over the Western world in the UFC. Do you feel like the shackles have come off? You can be you a little bit more.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, you know what it is? They just don't like it over there. They're just like not in the whole culture, right? I was texting with one CEO today. It's a really good friendship I've maintained, and I've created while I was over there. He's like, you're just so in your element with these British people trying to harass you. He's like, you're great on the mic, and he's like, it's so cool seeing that come out because obviously, we didn't have it in Asia. People just weren't into it, so I didn't do it.
Did you find that you weren't able to be yourself out there? You had to sort of be a little bit more. Corporate. You had to sort of fit their profile of being like a hero to the Asian.
Not really. It was just like. It was, it's like, if I would have got up in a Q&A in one of this country, pick a country over there, it wasn't going to be like last night. All their fans were going to come up drunk on the mic and yell at me. They would have said like really polite, nice things. So it's just way different.
If Till isn't successful in beating what are your options?
Well, I'm already thinking like the vibe I got this week is Jorge Masvidal is going to make some excuse not to fight me. Coming in this week, I was thinking, hey, I'll fight either one of these guys. Masvidal is ranked 11th, but if he beats the number 3 guy, he's, probably what, 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. And now he's just the way the interviews came off, he's gonna find a whole bunch of reasons to say no. So if that does happen, I'm just gonna kind of have to look at the division again and see who I can match up with.
And if Colby does get the next shot at Usman now?
Yeah, that's not guaranteed. So who knows? Maybe that's still in play. We don't know.
Do you think he deserves that shot?
Yeah, you know what? I actually, as much as I don't like Colby, I'll be fair, he does deserve it, right? He had the interim title. And the reason they kind of skipped over him was because they tried to make him versus Marty for 233, and he said no, right? He said I'm not fighting. I think he's scared of Marty a little bit, personally, and that was where I kind of tried to put myself and said, I'll fight him. Right? I know he's really tough. I'm here to fight the best guys. That's what I'm here for. I know it's going to be a challenge. I'm okay with that. And Colby said I want nothing to do with it, and so that was why Colby got skipped. And now they're letting him back in the mix, but. You know, if you think of, there's no real heat between Usman and Colby. It's not there. There's real heat between Usman and me. I don't dislike him, but he came at me like a honey badger, so whatever, let's do this. And then number two is, you know, if you just look at the surge of interest in me, I think me versus Usman sells a lot more. And if you're Usman, you're saying, well, let me read my contract here. Oh, I get paid on the number of pay-per-views, right? He gets one fee, but he gets paid on the number of pay-per-views. And I'm saying, if I'm Usman, I'm saying, damn. How many pay-per-views is Colby gonna sell me? How many pay-per-views is Ben gonna sell me? Ooh, that's gonna be a lot more. Ooh, my paycheck's gonna be a lot more. I'll take that one.
You're generating loads of traffic right now. There's a lot of attention coming your way.
Yeah.
They're really exciting fight for Robbie.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why it was so exciting was
because I got my ass beat for a minute. Yeah. It was not good.
Your game is very much wrestling based. Yeah. People, smother them, shut them down. Now, traditionally, that's something that tends to not go down well with fans.
That's not true. That's a false narrative. I'm going to stop you. It's a false narrative. Okay, take Conor out of the picture. Who's the best seller ever? Ever. What? No. GSP. GSP is like pay-per-view seller. Okay, GSP is the number 2. Who's the number 3? Brock Lesnar, also wrestler. Who's the number 4? Ronda Rousey, also used just grappling. So the narrative that grappling doesn't sell is just false. After Conor, number 2, 3, and 4 are all grappling-based people. So that narrative is just not there. And you know, I would even go number 5 is probably, I would guess, John Jones, maybe DC. So you know, really after Conor, you're going almost all wrestlers.
So with that, they all have that.
It's a personality thing. It's a personality.
That air of sort of unbeatability when they're on their rise up. You have that right now with your record as well. So that's something that presumably you're going to. That
helps too, yeah. But it's personality.
And then occasionally loses.
Yeah.
That gets a bit stale, right?
It's personality too, right? I mean, that has obviously if Conor's record / skill set is not like far beyond anyone else. What was far beyond anyone else was his ability to sell a fight and create drama and have a personality. That was what set him apart. It wasn't his ability to fight. I mean, you know, he was 1-1 against Nate Diaz, and the one he won was highly questionable. Nate Diaz is a 500 fighter in the UFC. He's not a world beater. So Conor's fighting didn't set him apart. It was his personality, and that was, you know, I think that's if you look at number 2 through 5, all for different reasons. Their personality was really popular. Right now, my personality, it's like. I can't figure it out. It's really weird because my personality was kind of like, I kind of got shit on for like close to a decade, and now all of a sudden something switches and everyone loves me, and I'm like, I don't know what freaking happened. I'm doing the same thing I was the last 8 years, and so for whatever reason it is, right now my personality is catching on, and I think that, you know, that's obviously what sells.
You have 2 or 3 in a row. Sorry, 2 or 3 in a row.
Yeah.
You're up there at the top of the division, so you get hold of that belt.
Yeah.
And you keep winning, and you keep dominating with your wrestling. What's going to keep you selling? Is it going to be the fact that you're unbeatable and people want to see you get beat?
Well, let me sell and then I'll tell you. I think we'll both. But once I start selling, then I'll tell you.
And guys, we have time for one more question.
One more, and then I gotta go pick up my wife.
Going back to Colby and Usman, who do you see coming out the winner?
I think Usman wins that.
How do you think
I just say, kind of like I said about Till and Masvidal, I just think Usman's a little bit better everywhere. A little bit better wrestler, a little stronger, a little better striker. It's kind of like I said, a little better everywhere, and that's a hard recipe to beat. If the other person's just a little better than you everywhere, there's just not a huge route for victory.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, guys.